The U.S. Interior Department announced that it was grounding its entire fleet of DJI drones used by it. The reason is that components in the drones could potentially be used for spying. The decision has some exception scenarios where the drone can be used. These include emergency missions like fighting wildfires and search and rescue operations. The move is actually an extension of an order of last year that was taken due to the concerns that drones made in China could expose sensitive data. Analysts in the U.S. think that potential security vulnerabilities in Chinese drones could be used by the Chinese military to get access to information gathered by the drones in the U.S. homeland. Viewers may note that last year, pending an internal security investigation, the U.S. Interior Department temporarily grounded its drones, which are used for surveying critical infrastructure like dams. The latest order states that the current fleet of 810 drones will remain grounded while we ensure that cybersecurity, technology, and domestic production concerns are adequately addressed. The order does not explicitly mention China, but a senior administration official said it was without question aimed at drones made or assembled in China. According to the U.S. Department of Interior, since the agency grounded its fleet in October, it has conducted 12 drone flights, all related to firefighting missions or flood monitoring. The official stated that other drone missions, like conducting geological surveys, studying habitats, and monitoring the breeding grounds of the sage grouse, an imperiled ground nesting bird that's found across millions of acres of oil and gas-rich sagebrush lands, will be conducted by airplane or helicopter. In this video, Defense Updates reports on U.S. Interior Department decision to ground DJI drones. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. The move is the latest by the U.S. government to target Chinese technology firms. In recent years, regulators have cracked down on Chinese wireless network equipment and pointed out concerns about the national security implications of Chinese companies' operation of consumer mobile applications in the United States. The government has also made it difficult for American companies to supply certain Chinese firms. In 2017, federal officials said they were worried that DJI drones were sending data back to China. So the apprehension is that the Chinese government is watching what the United States government is seeing through DJI drones. DJI has taken steps since then to reassure American officials. Last year, it announced that it was moving a small part of its production to Cerritos, California. It also rolled out a version of its drone specifically for government use. It's to be noted that the grounding order does not apply to private drones used for personal or commercial purposes. A senior administration official stated the Department of Defense and intelligence agencies would assist the Interior Department with a review of its drones that would include a significant teardown to the nuts and bolts of the machines. DJI is a private company based out of China. DJI's drones are very popular with both hobbyists as well as government officials. The company is seen as the market leader, and some analysts estimate that it dominates the drone market with more than 70% share. DJI, in a statement, said that it was disappointed with the new order and accused the Trump administration of political motives. Michael Oldenburg, a DJI spokesman, said, "This decision makes clear that the U.S. government's concerns about DJI drones, which make up a small portion of the DOI fleet, have little to do with security and are instead part of a politically motivated agenda to reduce market competition and support domestically produced drone technology regardless of its merits." Mr. Oldenburg said the company's technology, designed for United States government agencies, had been independently tested and validated by security consultants and federal officials, which proves today's decision has nothing to do with security. On the 26th of December 2019, a Chinese man in the United States was caught for snapping photos of Naval Air Station in Key West, Florida, also known as Truman Annex. The man went to the area early and started snapping clips of the sensitive location. As per reports, at about 6:50 a.m., some people in the vicinity saw him walking around a perimeter fence and entering the military facility from the rocks along the water. U.S. military police approached him and checked out the photos on his mobile phone. The police officers immediately called a federal agent. The federal agent arrested Lau on a charge of entering the naval property for the purpose of photographing defense installations. According to the complaint affidavit, Lau agreed to waive his Miranda rights and told the agent with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service in broken English that he was trying to take photographs of the sunrise. But his lie was caught immediately when he provided the passcode to his cell phone and allowed the agent to look at the images. The agent observed photographs of Truman Annex on the camera. This incident marks the second time since 2018 that a Chinese national has been charged with taking photos of defense assets at the Naval Air Station in Key West. So it's clear that China is actively trying to gather information regarding vital American installations, and if DJI in any way transmitting the information to the Chinese government, it's a genuine risk. It's well known that the Chinese military has a unit dedicated to cyber espionage, and it has sophisticated capabilities. Chinese hackers have carried out large-scale attacks to get data regarding weapons developed in the US. These data have been used to develop copies. Let's check two such cases. Beginning in the winter of 2009, two Chinese hackers began sending malicious emails to Boeing employees disguised to look as if they came from familiar people. Over the next 2 years, hackers stole some 630,000 files from Boeing related to the C-17, the third most expensive plane that the Pentagon has ever developed, with research and development costs of $3.4 billion. On the 26th of January 2013, Chinese copy of C-17 Y-20 Doppelganger first flew. Currently 8 are in service. More production is planned in the future. The U.S. National Security Agency concluded that the Chinese compromised key components of F-35. For example, design details of AN/APG-81 active electronically scanned array radar for the F-35 have been stolen. Importantly, critical aspects of F-35 stealth capability moved to the Chinese hand. The Chinese stole data on the methods used by the turbine to cool gases emitted by F-35's engine, as well as other heat reduction techniques. China has used this information to develop Chengdu J-20. There are two aspects to this. First is that if the Chinese military is able to hack into very secure organizations like the Pentagon, it can certainly hack into DJI's systems. The second aspect is that if DJI is forced to make provisions in its drones that enable the Chinese military to access information through it. Chinese media, as well as private corporations, can't do much when it comes to government intervention, and willingly or unwillingly, they'll have to abide. In both cases, the risk is high. Unlike civilian flights that are restricted in a sensitive area, U.S. government flights have much greater access. So it makes sense for the U.S. Interior Department not to use drones, especially those that are developed in China. It's essential that these drones are thoroughly checked, both in terms of software as well as hardware.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.